Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to Trippy Commentaries. Thanks for joining up in Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm RJ. Today we're going to look at how the biggest landmark in the game, Mount Chiliad, is really a massive volcano. I mentioned that a couple videos back and a couple people thought I was crazy, but really there's plenty of things to prove it, and it shows that perhaps the mountain is about to bust. Of course, most people know the Chiliad Mystery. They don't think that the mountain involves a volcano. It's all about aliens, hopefully a jetpack. But what if the mountain is really a volcano that is about to explode, and that's why we need the jetpack? I'm going to cover it all in today's episode. Have you guys ever seen this giant crater not too far away from Chiliad? Does that show that maybe it did explode at one point? Why else would the crater be here? Thanks again for joining up, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We also have a massive event going down this weekend. Last weekend we had the Xbox One takeover, and it's going to get even bigger this weekend on the PS4. So if you're on the PlayStation 4 and you play Grand Theft Auto Online, definitely join up with us. We will need your help as we take over San Andreas. Much love, guys. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. In the recent episode where I mentioned how Mount Chiliad might be an active volcano, I was kind of kidding around. I was looking at this rocket. You can see smoke coming out of the bottom, and if you listen closely, it even has the same sound effect from the Fallout series from when you enter a radioactive area. So it kind of shows you that this is a nuclear rocket. Can we launch it into the mountain to create the eruption? That would certainly be epic. I don't really think that's what the Chiliad Mystery is representing, but I'm telling you guys, maybe they had a volcanic eruption in mind for Grand Theft Auto 5. We have bunkers, and there's a lot of signals that there's perhaps an apocalypse that was supposed to happen. But as far as volcanic clues, there aren't that many, guys. We know about how the Epsilon has mentioned Chiliad as some sort of legendary landmark, and I'll talk about that a little bit more coming up in the episode. When you look at the tracks that you get, the first one talks about how Mount Chiliad is where apparently you worship craft and the earth reaches out to the ninth paradigm. That's some trippy stuff. But you scroll down all the way to this clue here. It says, in the core of the mountain where the blast is not felt, there you shall find it. So is maybe that Chiliad tunnel, is that the location that would survive a volcanic blast, considering it's actually inside of Mount Chiliad? That doesn't make a lot of sense. I would think it would be a direct hit. You would not last long if you were inside that tunnel. But there is a suspicious website, ChiliadMystery.com. There's a lot of mystery behind who created that website, but it does point to that tunnel as possibly a base for the Chiliad Mystery. I would think behind the TO1 or TO2 door, there might be a facility with scientists that could cause the eruption. Obviously, that's not there, but the clue saying that the mountain where the blast is not felt, that tells me that the volcano has probably not yet erupted. It's still going to blast, and perhaps that's the only location in all of San Andreas that would survive inside that door. Here at Rex's Diner, there's another small clue that a volcano could be part of GTA 5. One of the Epsilon tracks does mention dinosaurs. It says, we are not dinosaurs or plants, but a tree in the jet stream may hold Craft's true word. And that is the second Epsilon track that you find on the top of Mount Chiliad. So let's head over to the front of the diner. You can see that there's a painting, and the only mountain that's really in sight here is Mount Chiliad. So does this painting represent the only mountain you can see being Mount Chiliad? Because the mountain is a volcano. If you look on the top of the diner, it is an active volcano. It seems like they really wanted you to see only Mount Chiliad from this location. Let's go ahead and land, walk over. You can see the volcano is definitely active on top of Rex's Diner. You may not have seen, but Rockstar has added a volcano into GTA Online, so you can use it as one of the props, and there's a race that Rockstar put together that has that volcano prop on Mount Chiliad, so it basically makes the mountain look like a volcano, or possibly A volcano that's exploding right there in Grand Theft Auto Online. I know it doesn't exactly look realistic, but it is pretty cool how they added that into the game. When you talk about Chiliad, you also have to talk about the mountain that it's meant to represent, Mount Shasta. I get messages all the time saying, Trippy, how could Chiliad be Shasta? Because in real life, Mount Shasta is nowhere next to Los Angeles. Well, you have to remember that it's the second coming of Mount Chiliad, as it was originally in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. There's a Mount Chiliad 3D universe and a Mount Chiliad HD universe. So even though the mountain is based off of Mount Shasta, it's actually represented in a different location in both games. Mount Chiliad in GTA San Andreas is closer to San Fierro, but in Grand Theft Auto 5, we all know Mount Chiliad is kind of close to Los Santos, which represents Los Angeles. But it's not really about the location, it's more about the mountain itself and what it represents, guys. Mount Shasta is a legendary mountain. Did this guy just call the cops on us? Shizen! So Rockstar went out of their way to make Chiliad based off of Mount Shasta, not because of the location, because Shasta is known as one of the most sacred locations in the world. There's a lot of history behind it. So that is why Chiliad is Shasta. And if you look further into Shasta, that is a potentially active volcano. Here's the wiki page for the mountain. It is potentially active, located at the southern end of the Cascade Range in Siskiyou County, California. I probably completely butchered that county's name. The oldest known human settlement in the area dates back to about 7,000 years ago. That is a very long time. Here it says the lore of some of the Klamath tribes in the area held that Mount Shasta is inhabited by the spirit of the above world Skell, who descended from heaven to the mountain's summit at the request of the Klamath chief. There's some really crazy stories when it comes to Mount Shasta, but then if you look at its volcanic status, during the last 10,000 years, Mount Shasta has erupted an average of 800 years. But in the past 4,500 years, the volcano has erupted in an average of every 600 years, and the last significant eruption on Mount Shasta may have occurred about 2 centuries ago. So apparently at some point, this mountain is going to erupt. And if Mount Chiliad really is Mount Shasta, that tells you that it is definitely active. You cannot forget that Grand Theft Auto 5 and of course GTA San Andreas is all based on the Grand Theft Auto state of San Andreas. And what is San Andreas named after? The San Andreas Fault. I'm sure you guys have heard about how California is very susceptible to earthquakes, and that's all about the San Andreas Fault. And that's the kind of thing that would create a volcano, considering Mount Chiliad is right on the fault. An earthquake would easily cause a massive volcanic eruption in the state of San Andreas. This is the actual fault located in GTA San Andreas. It's well hidden, located underneath this ship in San Fierro. So it's really not too far away from Chiliad in that game. So you can swim underwater. You see that line? It's kind of like a trench that goes all the way underneath the ship. That is meant to be the San Andreas Fault. So I've been looking hard in GTA 5 to see if they have this same exact fault line. And to be honest with you, there's a couple things that could be it, but really nothing definitive. But you can tell that Rockstar put the San Andreas Fault in San Andreas and named the entire game after the fault itself, maybe teasing an earthquake or a volcano to come. There could be something showing us that the Chiliad Mystery itself could just be telling us that the mountain is an active volcano. Let's take a look at the mural. It has lines going throughout the mountain, which many people think is some sort of secret tunnel system. It definitely does not exist. Well, what if it's magma going throughout Chiliad to erupt and become lava? But that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the lightning bolts. Did you guys know that an eruption causes volcanic lightning? Here's some footage from just last year in Japan. Here's the eruption. You can see lightning show up, and then it just starts to flicker here and there. See? It's pretty crazy. I did not know that until recently, how lightning is part of an eruption, man. It's bad enough with all the ash and, of course, the immense heat, lava, all that causes mass destruction, guys. But on top of it, there's even lightning right there at the top. So could it be that the mystery mural is really showing off a volcanic eruption. It even does have at the very top there, everything's kind of going through the core, right through the top. I would think that that's some sort of UFO, but then again, we have the UFO on the bottom of the mural. So, of course, it remains a mystery, but I'm telling you guys, when you look at all the facts, this mountain that we're on right now is an active volcano. I think that Rockstar possibly meant to hopefully have an eruption, but with them coming out saying there will be no single player DLC, maybe that means that Chiliad will never fully erupt, something they might have had planned from the original version of San Andreas, perhaps creating it in that game, finally erupting it here in GTA 5. But at this point, we might have to wait till GTA 8 or something like that. Could it be that the cracked egg really just represents the cracked Earth's surface that would happen with an earthquake or a volcano? I would hope so. That almost sounds better than getting the jetpack. Stay tuned here at the channel, guys. Not only do we have huge live events coming, we also have a brand new GTA 5 episode every single day to close out 2017, guys. So subscribe so you don't miss anything. Where else on YouTube can you find more live events and new episodes than here at Trippy Commentaries, guys? We have an epic community. Thank you for being part of it. Let's get out of here. Mount Chiliad, when will you erupt? Hopefully one day soon, guys. Stay tuned, but more importantly, as always, make sure to stay trippy, my friends.